All right, so our last speaker, I just met him before the recovery event. He said he likes to talk, so hopefully we have some good story from him as well. He's a former director of NAMI, and he's going to be providing music for us today as well. So please give it up for Paul Quinn.
Thank you. I could hardly wait to hear what I have to say myself. So are you familiar with NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness? That was kind of my entree. I come from a large family. I always say there's 150 of us, but it's really only 9, but it feels like 150. My mom still doesn't know my name. She's like, hey, she just starts with the oldest and figures she'll hit me eventually. Hey, Gretchen, Tom, Carolyn, Charlie, which one are you? Don't lie, because I'll find out who you are. In fact, I can take you out and make another one look just like you. We wouldn't even miss you. But anyway, the youngest of all of us, I don't want to call him my little brother because he's about 6'4", 6'5", like 300 pounds.
That's my dude.
But the youngest of all of us, at age 15, started taking on a completely different personality. He'd always been popular in school, a good athlete, did well in school, and he started getting in fights. He dropped out of sports, became antisocial, and we didn't really know what to make of it. I was always particularly close to him for whatever reason, and he turned his back on me, and I didn't understand what he was going through, so I figured, well, whatever your problem is, buddy, I got it right back at you, so screw you. And I had no idea what he was going through. Ultimately, after about 5 years of floundering, we finally got a diagnosis of schizophrenia. And he has worked every day since then. This is now 30-some years later, and he works every day on his recovery and trying to help others with theirs. And he's doing better than he's ever done. And so that was kind of my introduction to all this. Of course, now in the meantime, over the last 30 years, I've learned that mental illness and addiction are very closely aligned, if you don't know this. Really, it all comes down to your brain chemistry. We're all a little bit off somehow. I mean, and we're all looking for a place where I call it, we feel level. I don't know, just, you know, when you don't feel right, you feel anxious and you're not sure what it is. You feel like you need a cigarette or you need a drink or whatever it might be. I think is where a lot of this comes from, where we're looking for like a peace of mind, a place where we just feel comfortable or level, I like to say. And in that process, a lot of times we try different things. I know people who even do things that I suppose you could consider healthy. I know somebody that runs 5 miles a day. And if they don't get in their 5-mile run, they're a mess. You don't want to be around them because they're grouchy, you know, they're real irritable. So you might think that's healthy. To me, it's still extreme. Still shows they're off balance. I have a brother who's a health nut, and like, you know, his daughters now are 30 years old, and he still stands over them. Better get some more greens on your plate there. Like, to me, that's extreme too. But is it a mental illness? Probably. I think we're all crazy at some level. You know, they talk about people with autism on a scale. I think that's how we ought to talk about everybody. Okay, how stable are you given your whatever your craziness is? Be probably a more realistic way to look at it. Who do you know who's normal? Well, let's see a show of hand of normal people.
Dude,
we got one here.
I am totally
AJ.
normal.
Yeah.
I'm totally
AJ's
normal.
definitely a poster child for normal up here.
That's right.
I'm just real quick. I met AJ. I lived in Columbus for 30 years and raised my kids there and played music there. And I moved back home to my hometown of Zanesville, and I was looking around to play some music. I've been a drummer all my life, and ended up at the last minute. AJ had some studio time booked, and the drummer didn't show. So somebody called me and said, "Hey, you want to come down and play drums with this guy?" I'm like, "Sure." Never met him, never heard his songs or anything, but sat down. He started playing, I started playing, and it just worked. And so at the end of the session, he said, "Hey, we sounded pretty good. You want to be my drummer?" I said, "Hell no." You're the same age as my kids. I'd have to feel like I was your dad, and I'd be watching over you. And that's pretty much what happened. 3 years later, I said, I'll be your drummer until you find one. And so 3 years later, we're still doing it. And anyway, it's turned out to be a great experience and a good relationship, and happy to be here. But I do have a recovery story of my own. I've had 9 surgeries on my back and hands and neck over the last 30 years. And when I first told my doctor about it, he said, well, we have a miracle pain reliever. It's non-addictive, called Percocet. So I don't know, he gave me like 10 pills or something, and I just stuck them in the medicine cabinet and forgot about them. And I thought, well, you know, I do have this pain, and the doctor did prescribe that, and you know, he did that for a reason. I guess I should take them. So I started taking them. But when I returned to the doctor, I'd say, you know, I still have persistent pain. Well, I'll up your prescription. And we followed that pattern for the next 20 years. Every time I'd see him, I said, well, I still have pain. Well, I'll up your prescription. To where I was getting, I think, 250 10 milligram Percocet a month. And thing was, I still had pain. And in the meantime, all this research comes out and says, oh, this stuff that we said was non-addictive, it's highly addictive, and it changes your personality. Oh, great. Now that I'm into these for a couple hundred a month. So I went to my doctor. I said, you know what? I don't want to keep taking all these pills. I said, okay, I understand that. Well, I'll tell you what. Instead of giving you those Percocet, I'll give you, what's the next one up? This is more powerful.
Oxycontin.
Oxycontin. We'll give you Oxycontin. I was like, wait a minute. Now, isn't that stronger than Percocet? Yeah, well, you said you don't want to take all those pills. You take 6 of those a day, you only take 2 of Oxycontin. Like, that's not exactly what I was going for. I don't want to take any pills. Oh, liquid morphine. Okay, yeah, we can hook you up with that. Like, jeez. I don't want to take anything. Huh? I don't want to take anything. Oh, okay. Well, wean yourself off. And he walked away. Like, wean myself off? How? I don't know. Well, fuck it. I quit right now. So I had no idea what I was signing on for, but I knew I quit right there. A couple days later, a buddy of mine calls, hey, how you doing? I'm like, man, something's wrong with me. He said, why is that? I'm like, I spent the whole night rolling around on my parents' living room floor like a fish out of water, bouncing from one end of the room to the other. He's like, well, didn't you say you were quitting those Percocet cold turkey? I said, yeah. Well, you dumbass, that's called withdrawal. Okay, well, I didn't know. So I do now, but I quit that day. I never looked back, never taken another one, never attempted to. But I know most people can't do that. And one thing I've learned is it takes a plan, and you're probably working on that. It takes a plan to stay sober. So when you get triggered, first of all, you got to know what your triggers are, so you can try to avoid those. But when you do get triggered, you got to have a plan, because if you don't have a plan, you're going to do what you always did. And so your plan needs to be, who can I call that I know will back me up? Where can I go? You know, what resources do I have available to me? And you have to have all that ready, because when the time comes, you can't be, oh, I feel like using right now. Let's see, who can I call? Geez, I don't know. My dad? No, he wouldn't. He's pissed off. Oh, my mom? No, she won't talk to me. No, that's not the time for that, because you'll say, screw it. You know, give me the drug. So you got to have all that planned out. And if you don't know what your triggers are, best thing I can tell you is to journal, so you can see when you feel like using. Over time, you'll see a pattern, and you'll be able to better identify when you might have one coming. But you got to stay away from the places, people, and things that make you want to use. I know a lot of people associate certain things with the cigarettes or drug use. It's like, you know, after a specific activity, or you're with a certain person or in a certain place, and you got to try to stay away from those, or guarantee you'll be triggered. But the biggest thing I see, and doing a lot of volunteer work over the last 30 years with people, is too many people are just waiting to be saved, or they're just bluffing their way through the program so they get back to doing what they were doing before. And you have to be responsible and in charge of your recovery. Nobody else can do it for you. We can't want it bad enough for you. I talked to so many family members who say, I would give anything for my loved one to get clean, but they just can't do it. It's like, well, are they committed to the program? Well, I'm not so sure. So, well, if you're not committed to it, you can't expect anybody else to care. But, so you have to own it. And the good news is the treatments are better than ever. The success rate now for people going through addiction or mental illness or any kind of brain disorder, the success rate when you get treatment is higher than any other disease or illness. It's like 90% success rate. The next best is like heart disease is like 80% success rate now. So your chances of recovery are outstanding, but you got to commit yourself to it and have a plan. So when you get triggered, you know exactly who to call or where to go or what to do. And with that, I thank you for your time and attention. If I can be of help, I'll be hanging out today. So holler at me. Thank you.